Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Robert Paris, Tad Stefanak and Chris Flaherty, Juliana McGrain with sports, Peter Brown with the weather, and Gretchen Carey with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. The results are in from the Mass state primary election, and Republican John Deaton has won a three-way race to face off against Senator Elizabeth Warren in November's general election. And on the Democratic ballot, Governor's Council candidate Mara Dolan defeated incumbent Marilyn Petito-Devaney. Here in Burlington, it was a relatively quiet primary. U.S. Congressman Seth Moulton, State Senator Cindy Friedman, and State Representative Ken Gordon, all Democrats, were unopposed. All in all, just over 3,000 Burlington residents cast their ballots in Tuesday's election, accounting for about 16% of total registered voters. Burlington's celebrated beer garden returned this week, bringing local beer and the local community together at the Cambridge Street Pocket Park. BNews reporter Sydney Bowles has more.
Burlingtonians of all ages, and even their dogs, flocked to the Pocket Park at 202 Cambridge Street for the inaugural beer garden of 2024.
It's a beautiful night. Can't really ask for better weather. We're just really excited to get these up and running again. They were a huge success in the past, and it's only grown from there. Melissa Tintoklis, our Economic Development Director, has done a phenomenal job of putting these together, bringing together the residents, local businesses, and just a chance to gather as a community.
It's my first time here. I was so excited. I found a great parking spot, and as I walked in, I saw everybody I knew. It took me like 15 minutes to get here because it's a true community event in Burlington.
The event was also a chance for small businesses and organizations to get in touch with the community.
And they're supporting for the small business, which is really great. This is great for all who is just starting the business. It's really helping us a lot, and I have to say thank you for bottom of my heart, the Burlington town of Burlington, that they bring this opportunity, which is great for us.
This is a great opportunity for local businesses, small businesses, mom and pops, and a lot of them are located right here. Well, they're located obviously in Burlington, but they live here as well. Families are out here. It's kind of the blending of the residential community and the business community all coming together in the town center.
If you missed the first beer garden, don't worry. There are more coming up every Thursday in September. From the Burlington Pocket Park, I'm Sydney Bowles.
We love Burlington!
It's now the second week of school for most Burlington students, and things are mostly going pretty well, but some parents' groups were concerned about delayed buses on those crucial first days. We caught up with Superintendent Eric Conti to talk about it.
Been a lot of talk about it, and it always takes a couple weeks to iron stuff out, and we plan as much as we possibly can, but until the day of, until the buses are actually running, and there's a lot of other things we have to work out. I think what we're really trying to work on is our communication, because I think parents are understanding that there are going to be delays on the first day. Some parents are hugging, taking pictures. I think they're understanding. I think they just want to know as far in advance as possible. So if the bus company is communicating with us, that's great, and then we can communicate to parents. And some things just happen unexpectedly. So I ride a bus every first day, and the bus I was riding on, South Bedford Street was closed. And when we pulled up, there was a detour. We had to wait 10 minutes, and that's just kind of what happens. So, like I said, I think people are flexible, but they just want to know as quickly as possible, and we're working on that.
An app for parents to track the kids' buses is going live. We may have passed Labor Day and headed into fall, but it's not too late to look back on summer. Burlington's Concert on the Common are always a highlight of the summer, but did you know many of the musicians featured are local? Robert Paris has the story.
One of the highlights of summer in Burlington is a summer concert series organized by the Parks and Recreation Department. A number of the musicians grew up right here in town. I spoke to a couple of them throughout the series and found out why they enjoy coming back and performing for the community.
Even though I don't live in Burlington anymore, I've been out of Burlington for 7 years. I'm in Wilmington. I've always been a part of Burlington through the gymnastics program at the high school and the rec, and of course over at the Marshall Simons. So to bring a very personal part of my life to Burlington, and in a capacity where we can entertain and kind of show off and get everyone to forget about everything for a little while, super fun.
It's a true honor, to be honest. I met some of these guys when I worked in Burlington going back 15 years, so although I don't live in Burlington now, I have very close ties with this town, and it's very near and dear to my heart, so to open the season on a beautiful night like tonight is a real honor. We're very excited.
I think probably the community, right? Everybody knows the songs, everybody knows each other, but it's just here to have a good time.
It's awesome. It's a great. Are you kidding me? This is Burlington. It's a great community. Look at us, and it's a sunny day. You know, we're clouded with some rain and downpours the first couple of years, but yeah, this is probably our, I don't know, 5th year or something like that. But it's a great spot. It's a great spot, great fun, and great program.
I love playing here. It's a great place to play, and a lot of people come out, so we love doing it. Burlington's home.
Yeah, it's always fun to come back. You know, spent 50 years here, and we come back almost every year to play on your summer concert series. So we're pleased and delighted to be here.
Parks and Rec Program Coordinator Jeff DeSalvo organizes the series a year in advance and always welcomes new groups in the mix.
Usually if they're from Burlington, they know it's a good reason to have them here, so they let us know. Like I know we had a new band this year, the Rusty Randoms, which has, you know, a Burlington teacher and a bunch of people that are local. So when you get those and you know that they're going to put on a good show, it's easy to book them. We're always looking, and hopefully we can get some few new Burlington people that can put on a good show.
I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
It was a showcase of art and culture at the Sculpture Park recently. Let's turn to Chris Flaherty for the details.
The morning of Saturday, August 31st, the best of local Indian artists was on display at the Burlington Sculpture Park. This exhibition was the result of a partnership between the Sculpture Park and the Indian Americans for Burlington, or IAB, which initially began when the Sculpture Park Committee approached IAB about adding a sculpture to the park.
That's where we started thinking, before having a sculpture, why don't we have people have a zest of Indian art and have a art display. And that's where we started working together, myself, Barbara, and my IAB team. We had some meetings, we discussed, we reached out to the Indian artists, and here we are. We have today around 8 artists who is displaying different Indian art. Madhubani painting is there, Warli is there, and even there are youngsters, Indian American young kids who are doing wonderful at their hobby, and they are here to display their artwork. Art is something which is underprivileged usually, but we see that there are people who have been dedicating their time and efforts, and they are pursuing their hobby. So giving them a platform here to display, to sell, and to showcase their Indian art and heritage, that's where we had an idea, and here we are.
There's plenty of art to appreciate and inspire in Burlington.
Pursue your hobby, don't give up, and art is something which is kind of a meditation, so pursue your hobby and enjoy the art.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
A Shakespeare-inspired play is coming to the Burlington Players Playhouse. Tad Stefanak has more.
To be or not to be, not exactly Shakespeare's original words.
Follow the cobblestone aisle back to the year 1623. Here hearken the Burlington Players, performing the pseudo-biographical play, The Book of Will, taking place 8 years after the death of William Shakespeare, and a time when Shakespeare's classic works were literally up for grabs.
Book of Will is about the 2 men who were left of Shakespeare's original Kingsmen. They realized that they had better collect all of Shakespeare's work. And also the reason why they chose to do this was printers had all the rights. Playwrights had no rights whatsoever. And there was so much bad Shakespeare out there because what printers would do would send boys to a play done by Shakespeare, tell the boys to copy down as much as they could, bring it back to the print shop, and they would cobble together whatever they could remember.
I've always been a big fan of Shakespeare. I've done a lot of Shakespeare. When I heard about the script and then read it, it really grabbed me because it's just got such an incredible true story woven in with a really cool, fun plot. So what this play lays out is how
delicate the whole situation was after Shakespeare died, when things were written on scraps of paper and plays were cobbled together and things moved so quickly that there was a very real risk of all of these plays just disappearing forever. It makes the driving force of the story really exciting and really palpable and high stakes.
Went to grad school for Shakespeare. I love it. I love it. I'm not sure I knew which character I wanted. I just wanted to be a part of it. It was fun. I think Lauren Gunderson does a fantastic job articulating the characters in the time period, and I just wanted to tell a story about William Shakespeare.
The Book of Will is running at the Burlington Players Park Playhouse for 3 weekends, starting September 6th through the 21st.
It's not just about Shakespeare, it's about people's lives and storytelling, and it's really funny.
If you like Shakespeare, come and you'll find the show very interesting. If you don't know anything about Shakespeare, there'll be a lot for you in the show.
From the Burlington Players Park Playhouse, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
'Tis we ourselves who will do it.
The local nonprofit, the James Gang, is holding its first ever 5K run to raise money and awareness for adults with disabilities. The James Gang is inspired by local resident James Anderson, who is one of only 40 or 50 people in the world with the rare genetic disorder NARS1. James loves sports, especially running, and he successfully completed the Boston Marathon as part of a duo charity team this April. The 5K fundraiser will be held at 9:30 a.m. on September 29, starting at the Burlington High School. For more information and to register, go to teamjamesgang.com. September is Food Safety Month, and all this month the Board of Health is offering resources to help residents and businesses up their food safety game. They've set up an informational table at their office on the second floor of the Human Services Building at 61 Center Street all this month. Residents can get information on safe food storage and preparation, safe home buffets, and safe shopping, and giveaways like children's coloring placemats, cooking temperature magnets, and travel hand soap. Stop by anytime during business hours in the month of September. Fall is always a season of fun in Burlington. Let's turn to Robert Paris for a look at what's on the calendar this season.
Fall is in the air. The Burlington Parks and Recreation Department has recently released the autumn brochure. I spoke with their director, Brendan Egan, and another update at Wildwood Park. To start things off, he talked about the new installation of the sunshade.
We were able to get this beautiful sunshade here installed at Wildwood Park. Big factors for the installation is this. There's really no shade on the equipment here. In a number of surveys and community outreach things that we had done, people said, hey, it would be really great if we could get some kind of covering over the playground. So like always, we listen to what the community has to say and we make the improvements that we can. 18 feet at its peak, it goes up over the top of the structure. The framework will stay up year round, but the shade itself will go up in May and come down in late September.
A wide variety of programs and activities fill the brochure through the next couple of months.
Traditional programs in there as well as new programs and all of our special events for the last quarter of the year, that's September through December.
We cannot forget the special events that are sure to be packed.
I really like Spooktacular. I like Truck Day as well, and of course the tree lighting. All three of those bring out, big crowds. But one that's really been getting more and more popular the last couple of years is our Trucktober event, where we have some food trucks, we have some music on the common. It's a good day for families to come out, just relax. It's a low-key event. A couple of years ago, we added a Power Wheels rally. Kids have at home, bring those up, and we kind of have a little drag racing event for them in front of Town Hall. So that's pretty cool, and that's added to that event.
Registrations for programs is open now at burlingtonrecreation.org.
Less humidity, I think, is great. And of course, all the fall festivals and events that take place, great time to get out with your family after you get that routine of back to school. Get out and enjoy some of those fall festivals.
I'm Robert Paris for BNews Weekly.
It's time to reap what's been sown over at the Burlington Community Garden. Tad Stefanak takes us there.
This is the time of the year when everything begins to ready for harvest. All the long-term fruit
is ripening, and we need to think about protecting it from birds and the bees and the squirrels and the chipmunks. And that's one thing we did last week with our grapevines. We pruned back all of the excess leaf growth, and we covered the vines with netting to prevent the birds from harvesting the grapes before we get the chance to pick it. And that's something you have to think about for the whole garden. So you probably, if you're growing any kind of fruits or vegetables, you probably have already withstood some rodent damage, chipmunks, squirrels. And if you are seeing that, then you really need to get out and do some harvesting. But that's just part one of what we do this time of the year. We also have to think about our product for next year, what we're going to grow next year. And two of the plants vegetables that we grow here that we save seed for are our garlic and our butternut squash. What we grow in New England is what's called a hardneck garlic. That is identified by this stem that's like a pencil, it's so hard. This garlic is native to the Balkan regions, Northern Europe, and there's many varieties of it. This particular one is called German, and we grow almost 1,200 cloves, heads of garlic, which means that we need 1,200 cloves. And what we try to do is identify the larger heads with the larger cloves so that we can plant them next year. Well, by next year, I mean in October of this year for harvesting next year. So 6 weeks we'll be planting cloves. This is Peskin, this is German. You can see the difference in size. The downside is that because you only get about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic per head, for 1,200 heads of garlic, we need to save 300 heads in summer. So what we're looking for this year is something that gives us a few more cloves per head, and we'll try growing those next year. The whole concept of saving seed and what we save dates back to the mid-1800s, a process called hybridization. Modern hybridizing was credited to a guy named Luther Burbank. He grew up in Lancaster, Massachusetts, and he won a contest for a new type of potato called the russet potato. And he took the $200 he made and started a hybridizing business. He was so famous at his time that when he passed away, Henry Ford purchased his laboratory and greenhouses and moved them to the Henry Ford Museum. So we practice something like that here at the garden, not just with the garlic, but with our butternut squash. Our butternut squash is typically bigger than what you would normally get at the supermarket, and we look for something that has a lot of meat, that's a lot of flesh for cooking, and it shapes and looks like a butternut squash. What we shy away from is saving seed from something like this. This is a very large seed head, so that's great, but there's really not much squash here at all. So we don't want to save something like this. We're really looking for something that gives us a lot of meat. So this year, our winner is this 11-pounder. It's all meat. It has a very large seed head. So we're going to save the seed from this plant, this fruit, and grow it next year. We have what we call volunteers, and this year we've had a pumpkin that volunteered in the garden. So we'll be saving the seed from this guy. It's more decorative, it's not for food, but it is a pretty good sized pumpkin, and it grew all by itself. Everything we harvest goes into storage for a couple of weeks. So we've already harvested some potatoes, and we'll continue to harvest until we get them all into the shed. And then as the call comes in for the pantry, we bring the vegetables to the pantry.
Fall sports season is underway at BHS, and here to tell us all about it is Juliana McGrain with her debut as our new sports reporter, replacing Anthony Matos, who's in his first year of college. Let's take a look.
Hey everyone, I'm Juliana McGrain, and this is your weekly sports report. The fall sports are back in session, and many teams have begun their seasons this past week. Red Devils football kicks off the season in 1 week as they will travel to Westboro on September 13th for a matchup with the Rangers. Girls swimming will have their first meet against Winchester. This game will be featured for a game of the week You can watch it live at 4:30 p.m. on BCAT TV Facebook page on Tuesday, September 10th. Devils golf are 1v1 after winning against Bedford 46.5 to 26.5 on August 23rd. Burlington lost a close game to the Reading Rockets 35-37 on the 27th. Next up will be a dual meet against Arlington and Wakefield Memorial on the 5th. As of taping, the meet is yet to be played. Girls and boys soccer have had matchups against Reading Memorial this week. Midfielder and forward junior Krish Soni scored in the 4-1 loss for the boys. Carter Ames has these highlights of the girls' home opener.
It was the first regular season game for girls varsity soccer as they kicked things off with the Reading Rockets. After a scoreless 12 minutes, the Devils broke it open with a 1-0 lead. The Burlington defense kept the Rockets from getting a goal in the first half, while the Devils offense scored 2 more goals before the break. The score remained at 3-0 until the 1950 mark when Burlington scored again and kept the shutout going at 4-0. Reading finally got on the board a few minutes later, 4-1, and had their second goal after a deep kick around midfield, 4-2. Burlington wrapped things up with one more goal. The final score, 5-2, Devils.
Girls and boys cross country will begin their seasons against Arlington on September 10th at Varsity Field. Girls field hockey started the season against the Reading Rockets on September 4th at Varsity Field, where they were shut out 6-0. We have highlights from the game at Lexington next week. Lady Devils volleyball began the season against Reading on the 4th, where they defeated them in 3 sets. As of taping, the match is still to be played. For more Red Devil action, check out our sports section at bcattv.org/sports and follow us on X @sports. That's all for this week. I'm Juliana McGrain. See you back in the studio.
Thank you, Juliana, and it's great to have you on board. Now let's take a look at the forecast with weatherman Peter Brown, and stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with the Look at Weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the second week of September, and of course now that we are in meteorological fall, we are going to be seeing those temperatures start to creep down a bit. So I know for those of us who really love the warm weather, unfortunately our favorite season is behind us, but we have some great weather still ahead. As we start our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year up around 80, and it's actually going to be a little bit cooler than average out there for most of the period coming up. So that's been a bit of a departure from what we saw for most of the summer. And as we get in towards the end of the period, getting in towards, September 12th, almost the middle of September, we should be seeing temperatures again in the upper 70s, and it looks like we might end out the period closer to average. And of course, as we get closer and closer to the autumnal equinox, our length of day in terms of sunlight is definitely decreasing. You can probably notice out there over the Labor Day weekend that the shadows were getting pretty long out there after 6 o'clock at night. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days. And this is something we haven't seen too much of this past summer. It looks like they're calling for us to have cooler and wetter than normal conditions. Now, the cooler conditions that they're expecting for us here in the New England area, that I'm definitely seeing. Now, in terms of us being slightly above average in precipitation, as the Climate Prediction Center is calling, that I'm not too sure of. That is depending on how close a storm system that gets to us later in the weekend, getting into Saturday night into Sunday morning, how fast that moves through the New England area. So we're going to have to see, again, how quickly that moves through, how much rain it brings us, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to give us that real drink of water that we really need out there. It has been pretty dry out there over this past month to 6 weeks or so. So go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. And again, starting our period on Friday, going to be a pretty nice day out there. We might have a couple of spot showers and they're trying to sneak into the forecast. Temperatures in the mid-70s, so pretty pleasant. As we get into Saturday, it's going to be a very nice day, we think, right now. This was originally looking like it was going to be kind of a rainier day. Might have to see some of those clouds coming in as we get in later in the day, but overall a pretty nice day. Temperatures in the low to mid-70s. And as we get into it Sunday, That looks like where we might have the chance of the highest amount of steadier rain. Again, not too sure right now how much rain we're really going to be getting. Right now it doesn't look like too much, but of course that could change. We just have to keep an eye. But Sunday definitely looks like the rainier of the two weekend days coming up. Temperatures hovering around 70, maybe in the lower 70s, a little sticky out there maybe. Then as we get into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and right through the end of the period, that sun is going to come blazing out. It's going to be very dry, very comfortable. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Temperatures still pretty chilly like they've been over the past couple of weeks here in the Burlington area. Temperatures staying at night down into the as low as maybe the mid 40s. So it's going to be mild and very, very dry out there as we head in towards the middle of September. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and you're watching BCAT. Go Red Devils!
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On every Thursday in September, the town of Burlington will be having the Community Beer Garden from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m. at 202 Cambridge Street. Contact the Economic Development Office with any questions. From September 6th through the 17th, the Flip Circus will be performing outside of the Burlington Mall. For more information and tickets, go to the following website. On September 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having Truck Day on the Town Common. Everyone is welcome to the event, and it is free. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
As we do each week, we're finishing up with a photo sent in by a member of the community. Kathy Hofferty shared with us this photo from a recent trip to Prince Edward Island in Canada. Thank you, Kathy. If you have a photo you'd like to see featured here, email it to us at bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. That's our show for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Phil Gallagher, and I'll see you again back here next week.